is now bedtime, like closing on 11 p.m. on Thursday evening, and I don't have enough to post a vlog for today. I say blog, I meant vlog. 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 So it's just gonna be a two for tomorrow. My parents picked up the kids today. Originally the plan was for my mom to come get them Friday. Nate and I would meet them down Saturday for Christmas Eve, and we would sleep over and do Christmas at my mom's house in New Jersey. But Friday's supposed to be really bad rain and thunderstorms. I know elsewhere is getting blizzards. We are getting thunderstorms. My mom didn't want to drive in that, so she came Thursday morning with my dad to pick them up while it was still sunny and dry. Then in the afternoon, the weather shifted to rain. I chose to wait for the rain to go out and run errands. I mean, it wasn't too bad. Today's not bad. Tomorrow's going to be worse, I think. They say, that's what they say. So, yeah, shopping. Ooh, freaking capitalism, man. Like, I hate participating in that part of the season, but at the same time, I love giving gifts and I love buying for people. So the stores were hectic. Took everything out of me, and that is why there's no vlog for Thursday. But I'll see you Friday. Hi, it's Friday. I just startled the dog on my lap. Sorry, dog. It's been a lazy day because the weather is absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. Oh, look who else is out here. There he is. Hey, buddy. I kind of forgot you were there. We got him, it was a year ago in October, and he made me so nervous when we first had him because, like, he doesn't move, and he wouldn't poop, and he would barely eat, but then summer came along, appetite opened up, careful what you wish for, I had to clean up after him every single day, and so now he's back into that, like, hardly active state, and I'm trying not to let it freak me out. But our previous experience with a bearded dragon was a rescue, literally found it on the street, and we only had her for about 4 months, and she went into that inactive state where I thought she was going into, not torpor, brumation. I thought she was going into brumation. No, it turns out she died. So when he starts acting like that, I get really weird. So I brought him out. He's enjoying the sun. There was a brief moment of sun. Anyway, got him to eat a little bit. But I figured I'd have him out and active now, today, because tomorrow Nate and I will be joining our kids in New Jersey at my mom's house for Christmas. It's gonna be freaking cold. Like, the weather is gonna drop so drastically, like everyone laughs like, haha, New England, but also like, haha, climate change. Okay, so there were 3 books that were taking up most of my month reading that I talked about in previous vlogs throughout Vlogmas. Jackal, Nicholas St. North, and then I had started the audiobook for Library at Mount Char. I started and quickly DNF'd Nosferatu. I think those are the books that had been featured on my vlogs. So the first thing I finished out of that was the Library at Mount Char. It took me about a week to get through that audiobook. Had no idea what was going on the entire time I was listening to it. It all just seems like a bunch of very violent, random things happening. Very supernatural adjacent, kind of like mythological kind of characters. But yeah, like I said, I had no idea what was going on for most of the book. But it was one of those that were like, I just knew like to trust the process. Oh damn dog, God. I had a feeling, a strong feeling that like in the end it would all make sense. And it did. So all the like random events happening, you get an explanation of why they had to appear random. Basically the plot is about this group of adult siblings. They were all adopted as children when they were orphaned by this like mass destruction sort of event that left them all orphaned, and so they were adopted by who they call the father, and they're raised in what's roughly translated to be a library. It's a dog, but where he's given them each a catalog, and each catalog gives each orphan this kind of divine knowledge on a specific area, and they're not allowed to share catalogs because not any one person can know everything. Because basically the father is a god, if not the god. A lot of it seems pretty like Christian God in how violent and messed up everything is, but they don't straight out say this is like the God, the Christian God. There's reference to like the power happens in cycles. So basically the father has gone missing and they are searching for him, and the story ends up being like an overthrowing, assuming power kind of story. And it's violent, it's surreal, it's dark. I think I really liked it. So like while listening to it, I had the book on my shelf. I kind of figured, yeah, I'm just gonna, like, once I finish it, this book can leave. It can go in a little free library, sell it to used bookstore, whatever. Once I finished it, I knew what was going on. I decided I'm going to keep it on my shelf and return to it. At some point in the next year, I would like to read it physically and kind of see all the randomness come together myself now that I know where it's going. So, surprise, surprise, when I actually went back and gave it like a star rating, it was like a 4 or 4.5, like bananas. I don't think I was enjoying it as much while I was reading it, but once I finished it and stepped back and thought about it and digested it, processed it, I listened to a podcast episode discussing it, the Overdue podcast. If I mention a podcast, it's the Overdue podcast. But their first Monday of December, I think, is when they discussed that book, which is what made me pick it up in the first place. So I listened to them discuss it, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I liked it a lot more than I thought I did. So that was a success, a surprising success. Jackal. I just finished that the other day, returned to the library. I didn't love. I don't know that I've figured out the star rating for it yet. I've been using the Copile method, which G from Book Roast came up with, and you're basically rating different aspects and then you're getting an average, and it is surprisingly accurate, and it helps when I'm like, I didn't like it but the writing was good. It helps me give a more fair assessment in cases like that. Or the opposite, like it was very entertaining, it wasn't like quality writing, but this was entertainment. It helps you find kind of the balance when you read a variety of things. Like my reading taste is all over the place, so I like using that. I have not run Jackal through that system yet. It's so windy outside. Okay, so Jackal is a story of, God damn it, I already forgot her name. I know, Liz Roche. She is returning to the small town of Pennsylvania where she grew up in the mountains. She has been living in the city for 15 years and she avoids her hometown completely. But her childhood best friend is getting married, and so she goes back for the wedding. Liz is black. Her best friend Mel is white. Mel is marrying a black man and they have a mixed daughter. On the night of the wedding, the daughter disappears. And Liz, in becoming involved with the search for the daughter and dealing with her own history in the town, like why she avoids it. When she was in high school, she was one of 2 black girls in the high school, and the other black girl was also taken and murdered in the woods. So she's dealt with that. She's been raised to fear the woods. It's kind of like local legend that, you know, if you hear something or if you think you see something, no, you didn't. So she ends up learning more and more about this history. It wasn't just Keisha from high school and now Caroline in the present who have been taken into the woods. Like there's a 35-year history of black girls disappearing and being murdered in the woods in this town, and she wants to get to the bottom of it. The pacing of this book, so slow. I feel like it took me forever to read a not very long book, something that should have been more thrilling and exciting and page-turnery. I feel like it took too long. There were weird chapters where you go back and get the story of each girl throughout, like the history of this town that have been taken. You get the moment that they were taken, and this weird focus on them, and the perspective of those cutaways was really weird. In the very end, you figure out why. But the book got to a point where, like, my kids would ask me, because we would have reading parties on the couch, and, you know, we'd all, how is this book going for you? Oliver's reading Percy Jackson. He's really liking it. He's past halfway on there. Owen is reading some other series about a girl and a dog and like a storm. He was really liking that. And then they would ask me how I was liking my book, and I was like, you know, if this was just a social horror type thriller with a serial killer in the woods, I would really like it. But I have a feeling it's going in a supernatural horror kind of way, and I don't love that. So in the end, it let me down. I don't think it was executed very well, having this like monster, demon, spirit, shadow thing kind of. Sorry, is that spoilers? Unintentional spoiler territory. But yeah, it was more supernatural than I expected, and I think it would have been more successful had it been more of a social thriller. I haven't made my list of favorite books of the year yet, but I think When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole, that might end up on my list. And that one is like a horror adjacent, dealing with social issues, race issues, that had a little bit of a science fiction element, but it didn't go absolutely unbelievable, like supernatural kind of, which this one did. So Jackal, I enjoyed but didn't love. Then bonus one thrown in here, before finishing Nicholas St. North, which is another one that took me way, like a lot longer than I expected it to, for being a tiny little illustrated, like middle grade book. Anyway, after I finished Jackal, I started an audiobook while I was, cleaning, running errands, that stuff. Merry Inkmas by Talia Hibbert. I forgot to check, but I'm pretty sure Talia Hibbert is the Chloe Brown author, the Brown Sisters romance series. I love those books. They get a little awkward. They're spicy romance books, and the spicy scenes, sometimes the talk got a little cringe. Okay, but Merry Inkmas was a short Christmas novella, also very spicy. And I liked it a lot. It's a grumpy sunshine. Excuse me. This cold of mine is lingering. I feel fine, but this cold is super annoying. So yeah, grumpy sunshine, work romance. It doesn't start off as like a coworker thing. Well, boss employee thing, but that's where it quickly goes. And because it was so short, it doesn't have a big miscommunication breakup period that I hate in contemporary romance. There's kind of a moment of miscommunication, but they work through it really fast. It's not like this long, like extended breakup and miserable time and then they get together. And it does have that like happily ever after epilogue, which is okay, but I really enjoyed Merry Inkmas. Kind of edgy for a Christmas story. I mean, kind of, not really. It takes place in a tattoo parlor most of the story. So I guess it's a non-conventional, like it's not taking place in a little cafe or books. Starts in a cafe, doesn't take place in like a bookstore or on a Christmas tree farm or whatever other like cozy Christmas romance. Like, I'm kind of over those. Well, I intended to read more for the Christmas Evil readathon, but there's no way I'm finishing that bingo board. Okay, so then I finally did finish Nicholas St. North and the Battle of the Nightmare King. I love The Rise of the Guardians. I've mentioned that. Absolutely adore that movie. I love the Santa Claus character, and this is the backstory of that character. It was a little too like try hard of a fantasy. It was a little all over the place, like trying to have this sort of like epic mythology sort of thing, but it didn't come across as like, I don't know, it just came across like the author was trying too hard to have this like old school fantasy tone. And illustrations were adorable throughout, but it being the backstory of this character who will become Santa Claus, he's not Santa Claus yet, and so it did not give me Christmas vibes at all. So it was kind of a letdown. And then because it is the first book of like a 5-book series culminating in this movie, in the movie we finally get the ending, this conclusion with the Nightmare King or Pitch Black as the antagonist. There's no real ending to this book in any sort of satisfying way. I may see if I could get through the library the rest of the books, or like they are kind of gorgeous, so I may continue to buy them here and there if I see them. Like, I didn't hate it where I don't want to finish the series. It didn't get me in the Christmas feels. So that's what I've read this month.